I'm Ryan Sullivan. Welcome to Buddi News Roundup. Got my co-hosts, Layla Kasha and Nathan Fletcher. We're going to be talking Puppy Bowl highlights, an unfortunate death, a really fat cat, a hero dog that leads police to a missing kid, DNA testing getting crazy results, some great American stories, and a story about a puppy named Gus you won't believe. All right. Are we ready?
It's good stuff. It's good
Nathan,
stuff.
let's fire up the clips.
All right, let's go ahead and start with an oversized cat. No body shaming.
You look like you're walking a brown crinkled paper carpet.
Patches used to look like an entire quilt and couldn't walk around normally, but now things have changed. I had always wanted to adopt an overweight pet and help them lose weight, but that wish never came true until my daughter sent me a post about a 40-pound cat named Patches. Right after seeing his picture, I immediately contacted the shelter to submit an adoption application describing how I would help Patches on his weight loss journey. And among hundreds of applicants, I was chosen as Patches' new owner. The first time I met him in person, I was shocked, even though I had already seen his picture before. He had no neck and looked like a huge pillow. In the very beginning, he couldn't stand up to eat and lie down immediately after taking 3 steps. I tried to make him move around more by playing with him at least 5 times a day. At that point, any kind of movement was necessary for him.
Good.
2 or 3 weeks in, he started to become more active. His first milestone was walking from one room to the next room without stopping. Most people would think, how is that a milestone? But for a cat like Patches, this is huge, and that was just the beginning. By following his diet plan slowly and surely, his weight began to drop week by week. The goal for Patches is to lose 20 pounds from his first veterinarian visit, and after 3 years, Patches is now 19 pounds. The light started to come back into his eyes. He can finally groom himself, jump on stuff, and move freely around without feeling tired. It's obvious he's living happier than ever. Right from the beginning, I already knew this journey won't be easy, but both me and Patches never gave up. Thanks to his perseverance and the help of my other cats, Patches become the man he is today. I couldn't be more proud of him.
Good.
Wow. That cat was a big boy. And I'm curious on how that cat got that big. I'm very glad the cat lost all the weight to get to 19 pounds. I'm a little surprised it took 3 years to do that. I would think over about 6, 9 months, the cat could do that. But maybe they just, because he was so big and so probably sick, they, maybe took it real slow. Um, but it's kind of like got this happy-go-lucky music, and it's actually kind of a sad story. I'm very happy the person rescued Patches, and he's a healthy weight now, but sad.
I agree. My first thought was like, how did he get this big? Because that's pretty hard to do with a cat. It's not like they don't have free will over bags of chips and, ice cream like we do. Um, so I agree, super sad. I'm really glad he got so thin, but that was a shock. When he came on the screen, that was a shock. I also thought it was interesting that she had a cat basically look like his doppelganger, but thinner. Like he was like an identical carbon copy, but glad he's lost the weight. It's really hard on pets when they're that big. It's just tough. A lot of medical problems.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. I don't know much about cats, but we have a cat that can eat as much as she likes. She has one of those auto feeders, and she never gains weight. So I was like, how does that happen? Because I know I couldn't do that with my dogs. My dogs would be that big if I let them eat everything they wanted, but our cat doesn't. So I was just I wanted to know, like, how did that happen? Like, is this abnormal that if you let a cat eat,
Yeah.
you guys have cats. Is it like if you let your cats eat all the time, would they be like that? Or,
No.
like,
They
No.
would be like, where the cat wound up, more like 19, 20 pounds, maybe,
okay.
getting into the 21, 22-pound range. That's if you
Yeah.
let a cat kind of free eat, they can develop quite an appetite. And then if you're not really active, they can get into that early 20-pound range, but that big was,
Yeah. 40, was it 40
almost
pounds?
like
I
cat was
mean,
in a pen. Like when you
yeah.
hear
Yeah.
horror stories about veal, it's almost like the cat was like that, I'm guessing.
Wow. Wild.
Yeah, I mean, the treats are free flowing here, and they get like plenty of food. And I could not imagine. We have one. We have Buddy. He will eat until there's no food
Yeah.
left. But I still don't think he could get that big.
Right.
At some point, he would just like last night. I made tuna salad, and I put the tuna. I always put the tuna can down, and he had just had dinner, and he kind of sniffed it, and he was like, "I just ate." So
Hmm.
that's just wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. Strange. All right. Well, our next story is, I think, a pretty interesting one. Let's go with adorable.
Even with a puppy this tiny, it took a whole village of both humans and dogs to get Gus here healthy enough to find his family.
Is he one of the special dogs you'll never forget?
I will never forget that itty bitty.
Lori has been fostering dogs for a few years now with Best Friends Animal Society, and in September, when Gus arrived at her Arkansas home with his mama and 8 siblings,
He was so tiny, he like fit in the palm of my hand.
as you can see, Gus was half the size of his brothers and sisters and would soon need special round-the-clock care. Eventually, all of his siblings and mother were adopted, but that's when Lori got a new mother named Donna and her 11 pups. So, with coaching from Best Friends, Lori tried introducing Gus to Donna.
She just kind of looked at him and smelled and was like, "What's one more?"
Soon he was playing around with his new siblings and even napping with them too.
Even though he was twice their age, they were the same size, and so then he really started to develop along with them.
By December, he became well enough for adoption, and thanks to one Facebook photo, 2 retirees named Joe and Rodney drove nearly 3 hours to come and get him.
You're a little stinker. You see those cows?
Now, Gus has traded in his 11 canine siblings for some of the bovine variety on this 40-acre farm in Arkansas. He'll have plenty of space to run around and enjoy, all thanks to those who never gave up on him.
That's my itty bitty.
He's not itty bitty anymore, and he is fast as all get out.
By the way, guys, Gus has not even met their 4 grandchildren yet, so he's going to have plenty of playmates real soon.
Love the story about Gus. It's everything you want it to be. Kind of sickly pup gets a second chance. Love that the additional mother took him in, and then he's happy. He's living on a farm, and he really is. That's not a euphemism for him being dead. Thank God. One thing in this story that we talk about too is for older people. And this was a good fit for them, right? He's a puppy, he's energetic, they live on a farm, that's great. Sometimes they're more sedentary, maybe they need a cat, maybe they need an older dog, right? But it can be a great companion for older people.
I'm always struck and grateful for fosters. I think it's so important. It is such an interesting, like, I can't foster because I will take them all. But when you talk to fosters, they will tell you it's hard for them to give them up too. It breaks their heart, but it allows another opportunity for more animals to find a home. And so they've kind of accepted the heartbreak of seeing them go, knowing they're going to a better place. I also know that I couldn't do it. I am getting emotional just thinking about, fostering or giving them, but God bless these fosters, because a lot of these animals would not make it. And a lot of puppies and kittens that are sickly like that, these fosters really stay up and bottle feed all night. They're taking them to the vet every day. There's a lot to being a foster. And so if you are thinking about it and you see a story like this, I encourage you to reach out to your local sanctuaries, shelters, and see if you can help out in some way, because it's critical to finding these animals homes.
Yeah, I think that's a great message. Obviously, I thought it was great that foster was able to watch the poor little puppy for a while, and it found a home there. But I'm like you, Layla. I couldn't do it. I would just end up keeping the foster.
I wish I could.
Yeah.
I have to find other ways to help, because that's not what I can do.
Absolutely. All right, next story with the Olympics in town. I thought this was, or going on right now, this would be a great story. A snowboarder, a USA snowboarder who's doing something, so that's pretty special.
Hi, I'm Maddie Mastro, Olympic snowboarder. We're here at one of my favorite rescues. I personally love dogs, so who doesn't? So let's go check some out. Oh my God, you're cute. Breathe, take a breath. Dogs have always been a part of my life. Growing up, we always had rescue dogs in the house. There you go. Thank you. Like, woof was my first word. Look at these good dogs. Look at you. One more for Tuda. They're being well behaved. Can I have this box? Yes, now that one. Yeah, no, that one. Yeah, there you go. It's important to rescue and go to the shelter. There's hundreds of dogs that need homes that are good dogs that are getting overlooked. That was a blast. Now we're gonna go home to play with my dog. So let's go. I rescued Pippi from a rescue called Pup Culture Rescue in LA. I saw her photo on Instagram and yeah, I knew I needed her immediately. I was injured in Colorado and I was wearing an ankle boot when I got the email saying Pippi, I could adopt Pippi officially. I got in the car the next day and drove 15 hours with my left foot as the gas and brake and adopted Pippi that next day. So, and then I drove to Mammoth and got named to the Olympic team the day after that. Down, down. Will you roll over for me? Over. Well, we'll bring her up to the mountain and it'll be like past the pip. She'll go in everyone's jackets and they'll hold her while I snowboard. And she's definitely she's a big hit at the top of the half pipe. This way. Yes, spin. This dog is the love of my life. It's adorable. Pippi, say bye. Pippi, say bye. See you in Italy.
Love it. Love Maddie and Pippi. I love, Maddie's had Pippi for a while. Pippi kicks the ball back and Maddie's acting like it's the first time. That's love for a dog. I love also that she takes Pippi to the top of the mountain where she goes snowboarding and they all love Pippi and they put Pippi in their jackets, and great story. A lot of fun.
Maddie is my people. So the first thing that she said that I loved was that go to the shelter and take a dog from a shelter. I'm all big on the adopt, don't shop. There are so many great animals sitting, waiting for homes. I like when celebrities, and we've talked to different like influencers and people like Maddie, just them going to the shelter and highlighting different dogs can get them adopted. There's influencers that we've talked to, like they'll go and do a live from a shelter and they will clear the shelter, and things like that are critical because we need more room in those shelters. And the other thing I think that she said that's important, because I was talking to somebody, a friend of ours that has the shelter that we got Gordon and Gigi from. And I asked her one time, if people can't donate money, what can they do? And she said, share the post, because somebody that knows somebody might see it. And she saw that dog's picture on, I think she said Facebook. And now Pippi has a home and she has a great home. She looks like she's spoiled rotten. And I love that for Pippi. And I want it for all the animals. So I think that everything in that story is great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It would be funny to see if, she ever takes, I wonder if she ever takes Pippi on a little snowboard ride, Well, not nothing too crazy, no flips or anything, but just a little, that would be, Pippi gets a little exposure that way too. I think that'd be fun. All right, our next story is gonna take us, of course, we had the big Super Bowl, and so there's always other events that happen. There's the Puppy Bowl, and there's also the Great American Rescue Bowl. We're gonna see a highlight of the Puppy Bowl first, just to refresh everyone's memory about, kind of what happened. So let's check it out, and then after that, we're gonna tell a little follow-up story. So let's check out the clip first.
We have said it before, but if you don't have a dog in the fight for Sunday's Super Bowl, there is always the Puppy Bowl, and we are celebrating West Coast, East Coast style. Joining us from New York, the big game ref, Dan Shackner. How many puppies are going to be involved in Puppy Bowl 22?
Yeah, we have 150. We've got 15 special needs pups. That's our most amount ever. So to get senior adoptions happening, we've got 15 adoptable seniors at halftime.
How many shelters are involved this year?
72, another record for us. Not only do we have a 100% adoption rate, every single pup that we have at Puppy Bowl gets adopted by the time it's over. This is the dog I adopted a couple of years back. Just know the ref is not immune to the powers of Puppy Bowl.
I've got Uno and Bamba here. They are sisters. They are from the Best Friends Animal Society.
Number one, Best Friends is a national organization. A lot of rescues don't have that reach, but they do. They are in all the major cities of this country.
Now, I know dogs can not only start with a D, but they can be drama with a capital D.
You've got Pats and Seahawks, right? In
Yes.
the human version of the game. But I'm here to tell you that they don't hold a candle.
So we cut that clip off just so we could catch the highlights of it. It keeps going for a while.
Right.
I think the big story there was Tegan, the special needs dog that showed up there. It was kind of a big news story that she passed away shortly after the broadcast. She was a big story. Everybody was happy to see her in her little wheelchair device, and so we have a story that kind of follows that up that catches up with what happened with Tegan. So want to show that.
All eyes were on the Puppy Bowl. 150 puppies were in the competition, but there was a special pup from a Connecticut rescue that went viral and stole hearts. News 12's Leanna Wells spoke with the founder of the rescue and shares the puppy's journey to the big screen.
It's no secret that the Puppy Bowl is the most adorable competition on TV. And this year, for Puppy Bowl 22, an Aussie dog named Tegan stole the hearts of many.
She was so cute and so tiny and so feisty that she was just super popular when she aired.
Trisha Malfitano is the owner of Perfect Imperfections Rescue and Sanctuary, who started caring for Tegan in August and was offered the chance to have her featured in the Puppy Bowl. This year was the Connecticut Rescue's first time in the competition.
I just didn't think it was something we would ever do, but then when the opportunity presented ourselves, I thought, what a great platform to show special needs dogs.
Tegan was born with cerebellar hypoplasia, which affects a dog's motor skills. And just weeks after filming the Puppy Bowl, Tegan had to be rushed to the vet.
She aspirated, and we did try. We put her on oxygen and IV fluids, and sadly, that second time, they told me it was a miracle she survived it the first time, but very slim chance that that little body of hers could do it a second time, and unfortunately, that night we lost her.
Tegan was a member of Team Fluff, who won the Lombardi Trophy by 4 points. Trisha says watching the competition was difficult, but knowing that Tegan was on the winning team made it special.
I knew Tegan was gone, forgetting that the rest of the world didn't know that news. I don't know if that made a difference, but it's surreal to think that a little, 5-pound puppy could make such an impact in such a short amount of time. It's pretty incredible.
In Watertown, Leanna Wells, News 12, Connecticut.
Since the Puppy Bowl aired, the rescue and sanctuary says they've received monetary donations and items from their Chewy wish list.
Jeez, Nathan, great clip. Poor Tegan. I think that the sweetest thing is she was there, she was in her little apparatus, and she was so excited to be around those other dogs. So unfortunately, Tegan passed away, but man, it looked like she was having fun at the Puppy Bowl, being around all the other puppies. I'm guessing. So, and this is for the nerds out there. Tegan was a sassy Australian that was paired with the Doctor, Doctor Who, the Fifth Doctor. Well, actually, she started with the Fourth Doctor, went to the Fifth Doctor. So I'm guessing that's where Tegan was named after that character.
Good catch.
Yeah, very sad story.
All I do is cry on this app.
I knew that story was going to get you.
I don't know if I have any commentary. I'm just so sad. But I guess my comment would be, again, back to these folks that foster and these sanctuaries and these rescues, because that dog, adorable, expensive. You know, they were spending a lot of money, and a lot of these rescues, they really need the funds. They need the donations because they're doing God's work, truly. She was adorable. That was an adorable dog.
For sure. And, it just made me think of all those people that, there are dogs that, can't walk because their hips aren't right or whatever. And they have these contraption where they're wheels where they can strap in and walk around and run even, sometimes. And just all those, facilities, they're always financially struggling. They always need help. And so, for our viewers, if you can donate to any of those places, please do. I think it's a noble cause. So the next story is,
please.
What's that? Yeah, no, this one, no crying, I promise. This one won't make you cry. So the next story is, at the same time they have the Puppy Bowl, they also have the Great American Rescue Bowl on Great American Family. And with the North Shoreline Animal League, they do a lot of great work. So I'm going to play a clip from their appearance on the Today Show.
Well, the Super Bowl isn't the only big game this weekend. There's also the Great American Rescue Bowl.
Yeah, it's an annual tradition to raise awareness for shelter pets. And this year's showdown is between the Cuddle Crew and the Snuggle Squad.
Animal rights activist Beth Stern hosting the bowl again. She brought along adoptable kittens and pups from the North Shore Animal League America for a preview. Beth, always good to have you.
Thank you.
It's perhaps the cutest competition out there every year. What can we expect from this weekend's game? For friends, I know you smell Miles.
He loves your shoelaces. What better than this weekend game day than to celebrate rescue and the importance of adopting and celebrate every animal that participated in the Great American Rescue Bowl has been adopted. So now we want to get these guys homes. There's going to be so much fun. We have puppies, cats, dogs, and kittens competing. And who else?
Dylan's a good wrangler.
Who else gets points for cuteness other than the Great American Rescue Bowl?
And you have fostered literally thousands of cats. And you have, how many in your home right now? 39?
I think between 20, 30, 40. I don't know. I have a couple nursing mamas, a couple mamas that are pregnant about to give birth. So who knows how many we have at the house right now. I left Howard to deal with them.
Oh, well, that seems responsible. Yeah. For those who might think, like, it's just like a lot of responsibility. What do you say?
It is. It's so rewarding, though. It's an animal that's taken from the shelter, so it's you're helping free up space for more. All the shelters are so overcrowded, which leads me to why we're doing this, to encourage people to go to your local shelters. And these guys I brought back from Florida yesterday, from Furry Friends in Florida. Florida, they're overcrowded. So we're just doing our best to get everybody homes. And it's the most rewarding thing I could ever do, is to share these guys with you and get people to adopt.
Love it. So we should mention that the Puppy Bowl is done by our friends at Animal Planet and Discovery, and the Rescue Bowl is done by Great American. And it's great. It was neat to see all these animals and pets, and hopefully they'll all get adopted.
Yeah, I would say, again, just another great way to highlight, go to your shelter. The animals that they have on these bowls are cute, but I am telling you, they're just as cute at your local shelter. I love the little cat referees, the kitten referees, the 9-week-old kitten referees. Give me some fluffy puppies and kittens, and I'm happy.
Yeah, agreed. I think it's a good entertainment and something to watch, and of course, the real hard work is done by the North Shore Animal League and the different shelters, making sure they get those adopted. So But yeah, a great story to watch for sure. All right, I think our
And
last one here
I
is
do want to
yeah, go
interject.
ahead.
You know, on that day of the Super Bowl, you can watch these, especially if you don't have a team in the hunt. You know, if you don't, or if you know you just don't really care about the teams that are playing. Like this year, you know, for me, I didn't particularly care about either team. My team wasn't in it, and teams I like around weren't in it. So it was good for me to tune into the Puppy Bowl, be a part of the day, still have that good feeling. Maybe do a donation, and just feel like a part of the day.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, we got 2 more stories.
Okay.
This one is a surprising twist to doggy DNA.
I want to introduce you now to this rat terrier chihuahua mix named Rufus. He was a proud member of the Reef family from the East Bay for the last 15 years before he sadly passed away in April. That is when the family decided to rescue another dog named Ziggy. Notice any resemblance? Well, it turns out the 2 dogs share a lot more in common than just their good looks. Amanda Harry has the story on a twist of fate that left a grieving family believing in miracles.
Ziggy, come here.
Some connections come only once in a lifetime, but for the Reef family, it came twice.
I don't think there was more of a true example of like love at first sight.
That's how Jillian Reef remembers meeting her dog Ziggy back in April. It was just days after losing Rufus, who she described as her soul dog. Rufus was there for every milestone over the last decade of her life.
We were engaged and Rufus was there. He actually had the ring tied around his neck. And when my husband and I got married, he was there. He was wearing a little tux and he was in City Hall pictures. And then when we had our children, so Maya and Benjamin, Rufus was actually the first family member to meet both of our kids, even before Grandma.
Rufus passed away quickly and unexpectedly earlier this year, leaving the family heartbroken. That night, Reef's 6-year-old daughter, Maya, was looking at adoptable dogs. She stumbled upon Ziggy at Muttville in San Francisco and showed him to her mom.
They both look like the same colors.
In the state of mind that I was in, I looked at it and for a half second thought she might have been in my phone's photo album because they just looked so similar.
Reef couldn't stop thinking about Ziggy. She agonized over his photo, visiting his profile hundreds of times over just a few days. She knew she needed to make an appointment at Muttville to meet him.
When Ziggy trotted through that little gate with the adoption counselor, and I could see that he was lumpy and bumpy and old and a little wobbly, which is what Rufus was when we lost him, I didn't have any questions.
They committed to adopting him within minutes. After they took him home, the similarities became more apparent, including the way they communicated.
We learned that probably hour 2 of him being here because he was hungry and we weren't moving quick enough. And suddenly from the corner, that very familiar, like warbling sound, my husband said, "Oh my God, is that Ziggy?"
Reef decided to DNA test Ziggy, something they had done with Rufus back in 2017. She was at work when she got the results. It confirmed they were both rat terrier chihuahua mixes, but there was another tab that said relatives.
Rufus was Ziggy's son, and I was so panicked in that moment. I think I probably shouted in my conference room. I know I made some kind of, it might have been an expletive, I don't know, but it was a lot of emotion.
Rufus was about 15 years old when he passed. They estimate Ziggy is 16 or even 17 years old. Reef went straight home to hug Ziggy, grateful for this unexpected miracle.
And this doesn't make sense, and I have to be okay with that and just accept it as the amazing gift that it is.
Ziggy and I make the exact same sounds when we're hungry and the person preparing our food isn't moving fast enough. I just want to put it out there. Great story, crazy. And then, you expect the twist is that Ziggy's Rufus's son, but no, Rufus was Ziggy's son and love it. And those dogs look so happy. They're with the right owners and they're just living their best life.
That story is wild. That's wild. And also, I would say I had a heart cat, my soul kitty, when he passed away. I was on a site and right after, and it was to donate all of his stuff. And I saw a kitten and I thought, he looks just like him, but I'm not ready. And 2 months later, when I reached out to her to see, and I actually prefaced it with, hey, I saw him on your site. He's not there anymore. He's probably been adopted, but I'm looking for one like him. And she said, when I talked to you, I pulled him off the site and I still have him. I thought you might call back. And that's Gordon. So like, I just think sometimes destiny is at play. It's hard when you lose that animal that is like your touchstone animal.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. I hate to this is Finnegan. I hate to hurt his feelings. But my soul dog is, in his ashes are right up there over the shoulder right there. That's Ace. That's his picture. That's the ashes. And so I totally identify with that. It would be really weird if at some point I adopted a dog and it was related to Ace. I couldn't imagine that.
That would be wild,
too crazy.
right?
That's too crazy. Yeah. All right, one more story we have. It was a big story on the news, and we'll check it out. And here we go.
We're back with the good stuff tonight. The story of a dog that hasn't been claimed or identified, but is most definitely a hero tonight. And we've got the video to prove it.
Who is there?
It comes via police body cam footage from Louisville last month. A missing 3-year-old child. More than a half dozen officers on the search. They sent up a helicopter, but had no luck until this happened.
Oh, what's up, dude? There's a dog. Where's he at? Let's go.
That's Officer Josh Thompson responding to a dog that seemed to have something important to say.
It led me all the way back to the backyard. At that point, I'm thinking, okay, there's kids in this backyard.
And sure enough,
the dog went right to the back bumper. Check the rear here. Goes to the back bumper and just sat there.
Yeah, he's right here. After a quick lesson in car locks,
Grab and pull it. There we go! I don't think I've ever seen a happier kid in my life. He jumped out of the car, bear hugged my neck, and wouldn't let go.
Good job, buddy. The dog had cracked the case.
Lassie found him. Man, I don't know where the dog came from, but it was a blessing from God that day.
And here's the thing about that dog. Officer Thompson says he'd been patrolling that neighborhood for 2 years and had never seen the dog before that moment. And he hasn't seen the dog since that day. And to this very day, the department still does not know who the dog belongs to.
Okay, the dog was an angel. Clearly, the dog was an angel.
100%.
I don't think you're wrong. For those of you who watched Lassie and thought this never happens, the old joke, Timmy, what's that, Lassie? Timmy's down the well?
Right.
It does happen. But the fact that the dog really appeared out of the ether and then just disappeared to the ether, Nathan, you may be onto something. That dog could be an angel.
Yep.
I agree. I also, man, we don't deserve dogs. We don't deserve animals,
Right?
period, full stop. And there's a lot of like working dogs. Like that dog clearly had a mission and found his target, and thank God.
Thank God it was all captured on police body cam so we can all enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a good story to end on because it's a good heartwarming tale and a little mysterious. And I wonder if there's going to be a follow-up. I wonder if we'll find who the dog belongs to or if it
Right? Wouldn't that be great?
I would hope that they would come forward.
Yeah.
I mean, if I saw my dog on someone's body cam, I'd be all over that.
Yeah.
Great. Well, this has been a great news roundup. A lot of exciting stories this week, and we'll do it again next week.
Thanks, guys. It was fun.